Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odesa. We are starting our first briefing for today. It will be dedicated to how Odesa residents can help rescued animals from Kherson region. Our first guest is Yana Titarenko, head of the NGO Zakon Pryrody, Rule of Nature. Good afternoon. And now you can see with me a swimming Kherson puppet that was saved by volunteers from the territory that was flooded by water. And now this beautiful child requires a loving family. On the first day when we got this puppet, it was very popular, and you see he's very beautiful. But unfortunately, after it was adopted by the family, they returned him to us because people should understand that to take care about a dog, they need time, and we're looking for a new family for him. And this is not the only dog that we have now. We have dogs and kittens that were saved from the Kherson region. They now are undergoing treatment, but all the procedures, all these treatments are over. They will require new families. So if you have not taken a dog from the Kherson region, you still have such a possibility. But you need first to have a confirmation of all family relatives, because now we have the cases after hype is over, people started returning animals from the Kherson region to us, and this is not very good for animals, because now they know how it is to live in family, and they have to be returned to shelters. Thank you, Yana. Dmitro Alishuk, volunteer. You've told us before that you were also involved in the evacuation of animals from the Kherson region. Can you share your experience? On the 8th of June in the morning, we moved to Kherson. We just reached the column, and we understood that these are also our animals, and we need to rescue them. That was a difficult night and difficult day, but we brought back with us 20 cats and 39 dogs. The cats were taken at once by different people, but some of them were returned because some people just took too many of them without any real possibility to take care about them. That's why when you take an animal from a shelter, you should be sure that you will be able to take care about an animal that you take from a shelter. Dmitro, thank you. Yulia Shinganova, volunteer. And as far as I understand, Yulia is among those people who have taken cats from Kherson. This is Miyuki. This is one of 3 kittens that were together in a carrier. She also has a brother and one more small cat that couldn't eat by herself. So we fed her, and then she was also taken by a family. But when actually we were asked to send photos of the 3rd cat, we understood that we couldn't give it away. And now she accompanies us every we named her Minuki, which can be translated as a fluffy happiness. And it's really a fluffy happiness. And of course, she was doomed to be adopted by us. We, with our organization, Odesa Cats, just raised money to buy food for animals, to support adoption centers. And these animals are like our small happiness, because all the animals who are now suffering because of the war, this is not their fault that it has happened like that. But we could just share with them a little of warmth, love, and support, not only to those animals that have been already taken from Odesa region, but from the Kherson region, but those who are still there. Yana, we have two questions from the journalists who are watching us online. How many center animals from the Kherson region are now in the adoption center? And how many you had initially? For 3 trips, voyages, we brought 208 animals. So this is the generally mounted animals who went through the adoption center and through our group of volunteers. Now we still have 6 big dogs that like reside in the adoption center, and 6 more dogs from the Kherson region are now in different clinics and medical centers to undergo treatment, but then they will be returned to the dog adoption center. So we have now 12 adult dogs like this fluffy miracle and 12 kittens. So more than 150 animals that were evacuated from the Kherson region have already been adopted by different families. You've mentioned that several dogs are still in medical centers. What was the condition of animals that you brought from there? Did they require only vaccination, or do they have some severe problems? The problems actually were different. There were 2 categories of dogs, the dogs that were taken from water and the dogs that were rescued before water reached them. So those, so to say, dried dogs have less problems with their health compared to the animals that got into water, because the water is very polluted. That's now they have problems with their skin and digestion. So we have a dog, and we think that it just consumed too much water, the dirty water, and now the dog has problems with the digestion. Some other dogs, because of the long stay in water, have some kind of flu now, and female dogs, they have problems with their female organs, and there is a well-known story, the dog that reached Odesa by raft, and the dog has significant damages of the skin. Perhaps it was attacked by crows or some other birds. There is a dog that will have some eyesight problems, but we think that this dog will be left with our organization, because these are rare cases when people are ready to take old dogs with some problems. So the dog, which have everyone seen in Ukraine and perhaps in the world, that reached Odesa by raft, and I would like to prevent a huge scandal. I do not say that this is the dog which is well known all over Ukraine and abroad, but the dog which is now in Odesa medication center was also taken from the raft by a person in the village of Grigorievka, and now it is taken care by our NGO. One more question from journalists. How these animals can be taken? What are the conditions? And do you foresee some curators at the first stage? Of course. We are in contact with the people who take dogs from us. This is like mild control till the moment when we are sure that the dog is safe. We do not have some specific conditions, and everything depends on people. There are cases when not very rich families are able to take care about animals, and we have no problems with them. Other people, they have more possibilities, but they are not that willing to take care properly about animals. It depends on personalities, and there are very rare cases when we refuse to give dogs to people. But as for the dog that you can now see, he looks like a toy, and that people were just overwhelmed with emotions, but not all people had to have conditions to properly take care about the dog. And we would like to emphasize that this is not a toy that you can take for 3-4 days, take a picture, posting it saying that you see we're so great, we've saved an animal from the Kherson region, and then return it to us when they realize that they should take care about the dog every day. This is what we emphasize all the time. And would like also to say that not only animals from the Kherson region who should be taken care about, we have occupied, liberated territories. There is the combat zone. And unfortunately, we also have some other Ukrainian territories where people have not learned how to respect animals. Thank you. And how people can take an animal. Please share your details, contact details, and we'll also let your contact details to our news pieces. My name is Yana Titarenko. I have a personal Facebook page. I am always ready to respond to any questions related to animals which reside, which live in the dog adoption center. There are other Facebook pages, Zakon Pryrody, Law of Nurture Animals. So we also have Instagram. If you're interested in taking care about some animals, please do not hesitate to contact us. And this is information also for those people who cannot take animals to their families but are ready to support us with the money, food, like volunteer support. Please contact us. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for taking with you your fluffy friends. The next briefing will take place at noon, and it will be dedicated to the development of the physical culture and sports in the Odesa region. Stay tuned, and if there are journalists who are interested in the topic of stray animals in Odesa, Kherson, other regions, we will also happily support you with the contacts to cover the topic.